nearly 30 years ago, I left my first husband and then went on a different path with my second husband. Is there an Eleni somewhere that actually stayed married to her first husband? And is that timeline actually playing out at the same time? And is there an Eleni that is doing something completely different because of other choices that she has made along the way? So with every single choice that we make, do we then have a multitude of possibilities and therefore a multitude of timelines that are actually playing out at the same time?
There is many of the Elenis that are existing in a parallel universe reality that are running in of the alignment to this of the reality. It is also explaining why in this moment in of your timescape that you are experiencing different of the timeline experiences. What you will be finding is that you may be of the talking to maybe of the family, and one member of the family will remember an event or a situation that is being of the happening, where Miss Eleni, you don't remember this event that's being of the happening. And this is because the multiple timelines are running simultaneously in a parallel universe existence of the reality scape.
Welcome to Galactic Guidance, the show that channels the wisdom of beings from higher realms. Join us as we tap into the cosmic consciousness and receive messages of clear guidance to help us navigate our spiritual evolution on planet Earth. So sit back, relax, and let's connect into the higher frequency. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Galactic Guidance. Hello, Marcus.
Hey, Eleni, how are you?
I'm good. I'm always excited for this time of the week where we get to have a discussion with a high dimensional being that you channel, and that's always exciting. And apart from it being exciting, it's just a beautiful feeling to feel into. It's a beautiful energy. So whenever you're ready to connect into
We can
Ameed.
do that. Yes, we can do that. Let's do that. All right. Just let go of everything else, hey?
Let go of everything else that has happened today. Let it all go.
Yes.
So what Marcus is doing now is he's connecting into a higher dimensional being called Ameed that he channels. He's been channeling this being now for over 3 decades. And the story of how that came about is in episode 1, so that we don't repeat the story in every episode. And then as soon as the connection is made, Ameed is actually a physical being living in the Lyra star system. And as soon as the connection is made, Ameed comes in, says something initially, and then I come in with a question, and we have a whole discussion about that. And at the very end, when Marcus comes back in and Ameed leaves, we have a little discussion with Marcus in terms of the concepts and the guidance that was brought forward. So always excited to see what will be brought forward today.
Much of the loveness that we are here in this of the sacred moment, and Miss Eleni, we are much of the excitement to be in of the presence, to be of the sensing into those that are here in this of the momentness, and even if they are being in the watching state and on the different of the timeline, they are still here in this of the moment. This is one of the aspects that you are being of the learning. Learning about the reality of dimensional of the time and space, understanding that the universes are made of these 3 core aspects of the what you'd be calling of the time and space and of the dimensions, of the reality of the nature of universal truth. It is much of the dimensional aspect. Your experience of the time and your experience of space is much of a difference to our experience of time and of the space. But we like to be here and communicating, to be of the sharing, so that you're being of the understanding. And we can be of the assistance to help you to be of the expanding nature of your consciousness reality in this of the multi-dimensional space and time. We are much of the excitement, Miss Eleni. We are muching of the loving being in this space.
I am much of the love of being in this space too. As always, it's beautiful to be in your energetic presence, Ameed. I love it. You mentioned time and space, and yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot lately in terms of when we make choices and decisions. So, when we make a decision about something, it could have gone one way or another. Is the other decision also playing out? So, for example, if we're at a crossroad in our life and we say yes, so I've been thinking about this actually recently. So, I'll give you a personal example. So, nearly 30 years ago, I left my first husband and then went on a different path with my second husband. Is there an Eleni somewhere that actually stayed married to her first husband? And is that timeline actually playing out at the same time? And is there an Eleni that is doing something completely different because of other choices that she has made along the way? So with every single choice that we make, do we then have a multitude of possibilities and therefore a multitude of timelines that are actually playing out at the same time?
This is much of joyfulness and the interesting of the question for you to be of the asking in this moment in time. And this is of the multi-dimensional question that you are be fielding. And one aspect that we wish for you to be of the understanding is that anything that is being of the happening is happening at what we be calling of the resonant frequency level. And at that level, nothing is of the disappearing. So when you are having what we be calling of a thought bubble, this the thought bubble never does the disappearing. It may have left your dimensional reality, but it is out in of the universe and floating in of the universe and reassimilating into the energetic quality of a multidimensional existence of reality. Therefore, everything that is being of the happening is continuing to be of the happening. One of the understandings that we wish you to have is that in any of the moments, in any of what you be calling of the decisions, you are standing on the threshold, standing on the event horizon of infinite potential. In any of the given moments, you are standing on the threshold of the infinite potential. This is one thing that you are not being of the understanding. But at any given moment, especially in the moment of the decision, do I turn of the leftness? Do I turn of the rightness? You are standing not just in of the leftness and of the rightness, the opportunity, but you are standing in an infinite potential of what you might be calling of the pathways that you can be following. This, once you're making of the decision, like in of your case, Miss Eleni, where you are deciding, shall I be with this person or not be with this person? You are standing on the infinite potential of any of the realities being in existence. But once you are making of the decision, all of the infinite potential opportunities then be of the collapsing in on themselves. This does not mean they have been of the disappearing, because as we are stated at the start of this of the conversation, is nothing is being in of the disappearing. Nothing is of the vanishing. Everything that is possible is existing in this moment in the dimensional space-time. Therefore, there is many of the Elenis that are existing in a parallel universe reality that are running in of the alignment to this of the reality. It is also explaining why in this moment in of your timescape that you are experiencing different of the timeline experiences. What you will be finding is that you may be of the talking to maybe of the family, and one member of the family will remember an event or a situation that is being of the happening, where Miss Eleni, you don't remember this event that's being of the happening. And this is because multiple timelines are running simultaneously in a parallel universe existence of the reality scape. And therefore, some people are connected into old timelines of the reality. Some people are connecting into other streams of experience that have been of the playing out, but not necessarily in the conscious awareness that you be existing in now. As you begin to shift into the next dimension of the reality, what you are finding is that all of the realities are compressing on themselves, which means the distance between one of the parallel universe experiences and another parallel universe experience is much, much thinner than it has ever been. Therefore, you can be of the jumping various timeline realities and believe you're existing in one timeline, and you could be talking to someone who's existing in another timeline, and they'd be telling you one story and you'd be remembering something that is much of the total differencing. This can be much of the confusing, and you might be thinking that they are being of the lying or that you are being of the loss of your memory, but this is not of the truth. These are existing at the simultaneous time. And as you are moving in the compression field in this of the moment, before you expand again into another dimension of reality, what you be calling a more expanded resonant frequency state, you will be sensing more of these multitudes of the timeline experience.
Mm.
So this question that you be of the asking is more much of the complex for your consciousness to be of the fullness of the understanding, but we must be of the saying that nothing is of the disappearing.
Okay. So what I heard you say is that, yes, there is an aspect of truth in that because nothing disappears, but the moment that a decision is made, all the timelines sort of collapse into the one. But at the same time, we all have different experiences of different timelines, and therefore when we're recounting memories, we are not necessarily aligned with the next person in terms of the memory that we retrieve, because they may be tapping into a different timeline than we are. Which leads me to the next question, because you said at any moment we can be making a decision that leads to our infinite potential. I think the words are that you used. So what is it that we can do in that moment to make the decision for the highest possible timeline in that moment?
When you be stepping into and at the threshold, or you are at the much like the imagining you are standing on the cliff, and in the front of you there are lots of different what you might consider tight ropes that you can walk on to get across this cliff or this of the canyonness. You can imagine you are standing on the canyon, you are right on the cliff of the edge, but there are many tight ropes that you can choose. This is the moment of your choosing. And as you are standing here in the moment of your choosing, you are standing facing the infinite potential of opportunities that exist there before you. Your role there is then to be of the choosing of the most expanded consciousness state of opportunity that you can be of the seeing. One of the opportunities that you will be experiencing when you become connected into the sensitivity, that you will see the thread that is most of the beneficial for you to be choosing based on the mission that you created before you journeyed here into this dimension of the reality scape. There are a multitude of choices that you can be taking, and you are much of the freedomness to be taking any of these multitude of the choices. However, as you be suggesting that there is some of the choices are much more helpful to assisting you to be in the expansion of your conscious awareness state. The aim of a universal construct is to continue the evolution of the consciousness expansion of the universal construct. You are much of the part of this universal construct, and therefore every bit of the decision that you're making, you make with the most expanded version of the consciousness scape. When you become of the sensitive nature, you will be seeing this tightrope like it is of the golden thread. You will be seeing one of the tightropes shining with of the golden light. This is helping you to access the thread of your mission the reason that you're being in this space, in this dimension, in this moment, in this timescape. You have much of the choice to choose any of the threads, any of the tight ropes that you wish to be choosing. But some of the choosing is much more of the expanded nature, and some of the choosing is of the contracted nature. Right now, things are getting a lot more of the confusion because all of these opportunities are much more compressed. Therefore, the tight ropes are much more closer together, and therefore can be feeling much more of the confusion. But if you be of the dropping into yourself, if you be sensing into the more expanded consciousness awareness, be much more of the listening in, then you can be of the making of the bestest choice for your journey that you are here in this theme park. You can be choosing anything that you be wishing, but we would like you to be of the choosing the most expanded consciousness awareness state. That is what you are here to be assisting with.
Ameed, I hear what you say about it being confusing at this very moment. I feel like if I use myself as a personal example that maybe people can relate to, it's not an obvious choice. In the past, in terms of the path that we follow, whether it's the path of the heart or the path of the ego, it was obvious that I needed to follow the path of the heart. That was like lead from the heart. It's obvious that there seemed to be two big choices there, and of course I'm going to follow my heart. At this moment, when there's not much happening in terms of activity in my world, you know, my choices are, do I do a live today? No, I'm too tired to do a live today. I'll work on my book instead. Like, there doesn't seem to be one's the ego and one's the heart. It just seems to be quite irrelevant as to which choice I make. There doesn't seem to be a clear path. So can you give me some guidance?
Much of the pleased to be of the guidance, to be of the assistance in helping you to be of the most expanded decision. What you'll be finding is that once you might be of the experience of two versions of potential opportunity or the decision, now there is a multi-dimensional opportunity to be of the choosing. And what we would wish for you is to be tuning into the resonant frequency and be of the choosing of the most harmonic, most stable tightrope, if we be keeping of this example, but you'll be of the choosing of the most harmonic and the most stable resonant frequency opportunity that is being of the lying in there in of the front of you. This is the choosing that we would be of the encouraging in this moment. So this is not just of the heartscape and not just of the egoscape, but much of the deepness, much more of the deepness into the resonant field of the universal construct. And within that, you are looking for the most harmonic, most stable choosing that you can be of the making. So in any given moment, you'd be sitting there thinking about this of the choosing, and we ask that you feel into which is the most harmonicness of the choosing, which is of the most stable of the choosing that I can be making in this of the moment. When you have been doing of this, then you'll be choosing the most expanded consciousness choice that you can be of the making.
And so we come into this world with our strengths and our gifts and our own internal resources. So how much of that is going to be destiny anyway, because we have certain characteristics? So when something appears in front of us and we have certain strengths, we're going to say a definite yes, that's what I'm going to be doing. And so therefore you're going to go along a path anyway. So how much of it is actually our doing and how much of it is our destiny?
One of the much of the interesting aspects of this of the choosing is that sometimes you will be choosing the safest of the easiest of the choosing, when in actual fact you need to be choosing of the most resonant frequency of the possibility. And sometimes this will get you to move into areas that are much of the uncomfortableness to assist you to be in of the expansiveness. So you must be of the connecting into a much deeper of the resonant frequency fields, much deeper into the frequencies of the reality, so that you can be choosing of the most harmonic, resonant frequency possible. This will help you to continue to be on the expansion that you be of the choosing before you came into this space. To assist in the consciousness expansion, this is what you are being here to be of the doingness. And what we would be saying to you is that your skills, those aspects that you are being of the goodness of, go much more of the deeperness than you can be of the imagining. And these are not just of the learned skills, these are of the embedded of the skillness. These are what you came with you before you entered into this theme park of the existence. And this is what we wish for you to be connecting into and be of the remembering space. Much more of the deeperness, much more of the remembering of the skills that you had before you appeared here in this of the dimension.
Before we bring Marcus back, just one final question as you talk about, deepening of the skills. One practical tip that us earthlings can utilize to deepen our skills. One practical tip.
One of much of the experiences that we wish to be of the sharing is to be spending of the time to have a full body awareness of the resonant field that is existing in and of around you. So we would be asking that you be sitting of the quietness in some space that you are not going to be in the disturbing, and then be feeling into what we be calling of the resonant fields. Just to be tuning into of the resonant frequencies and feeling these frequencies being of the touching of your skin. Many times you have been of the talking about the mindscape of reality or the heartscape of reality or even of the intuitive scape of the reality. But we wish to share with you that one of the most sensitive of the what you call of the organs that you have is of the skin resonant field, and you can be sensing into resonant frequencies by sensing into of the skinness. So we would be asking you to be sitting in the quietness and be feeling into of the skin, and be feeling sensing into when resonant frequencies are being of the touching of the skin, and then you can be of the asking yourself, is this a harmonic resonant field that I am sensing, or is this of the disharmonic resonant field that I am being of the sensing? And therefore this full what you'd be calling of the full body awareness, a full body sensory experience, is much going to be of the helpfulness as you begin to journey into of the expansion dimensional reality. So we ask that you be sitting and be sensing in a full body through of the skinness. Can I be sensing resonant frequencies? And if I am being of the sensing of these resonant frequencies, are they of the harmonic or of the disharmonic nature? And if they are of these natures, where are they being appearing from? Are they coming from the inside of the outside or the outside of the inside? And just be in the experience of being of the sensory nature. You can be asking, where upon of my skin is this resonant frequency being of the feeling? Is it in my arms, or is it on my legs, or is it on my head or on my face? Where am I being of the experience of this resonant frequency? This is much of the importance as we are being of the sharing of this consciousness technology. You are needing to be of the expansion nature and be understanding what you'd be calling of the truthfulness of the consciousness. This is not just of the awareness. This is much more of a connected universal construct. We will be much of sharing more of this construct of the consciousness technology, because it is much of the timeless for you to be awakening and be of the remembering of this reality of the existence.
Thank you, Ameed. Thank you so much for all of that.
Much of the loveness, much of the joy, much of the gratitude. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Wow, what journey did we go on today? My Lord. That was a journey. Can't tell you
Yeah,
exactly what was going on, but it feels like it was a journey.
timelines and making the highest possible choice in a given moment. And Ameed said that what's difficult at the moment, and I really feel like I get this, is that it's those the timelines in terms of the choices we're making. They're not obvious.
Mm,
So she said it's like two tight ropes that are really quite close together.
mm,
And it's not an obvious choice in terms of the choices that we make. And it's
mm.
about feeling into, the highest,
Yeah.
like in terms of where I am, it feels very much like a void space
Mm,
because
mm. Perfect.
like a couple of years ago, it was obvious, like this makes me feel sick and this gives me joy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
therefore go with the joy.
Of
Okay.
course. Yeah.
But now it's like, well, I don't know, nothing really excites me.
Mm.
Like in terms of
Perfect.
really gets me like fired up like I used to be. And
No.
so what choice to make?
Mm. Yeah. That's the interesting question, and again, as all of these choices get close together, things compress. It is harder to see that there's one path or two paths or three paths, right? But it's also giving us the opportunity to see the multitude of paths there are, like the infinite number of paths there are. Whereas before we couldn't see that as clearly because the sort of threads or whatever were so far, they were far apart. So in our vision, energetically or actual, you could only see a couple. Oh yeah, there's that decision or that decision, maybe that decision. Now they're compressed, and so there's like in the same space there's 100 of them, not three of them or two of them. So now it looks confusing, but also it might look less exciting, but that's not necessarily real, as in because you are now more stable than you've ever been,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get that hyper excitement that we might have got once before, right? But at the same time, you don't get hyper depression or sadness. You don't get that, that sort of heaviness as much. And so, with the fallacy of you're meant to be excited and joyful and happy, and is a construct that is not real. It's a created construct. It's not a universal construct. We are designed to be really stable, and in that stability, make a very clear decision about something, but not based on joy or excitement or ego or the things that we're used to making, but now making it on, I just know that's my path. I just know that's the thing I need to do. I just am aligned with that. It's not necessarily exciting and joyful and I'm jumping out of my skin to do it, but there's often a more sureness to it, right?
Mm.
So you've got a much more sureness about you than you've ever had,
Yeah, but at the
right?
same time, I'm used to like relying on that fire in my belly to say, get on and
Correct.
do a live. And now it's
Correct.
like, well, I don't really have one. And so I don't get on and do a live. And then I feel like I'm not sharing my gift. I'm not sharing what I know. I'm not
Yeah.
sharing
Yeah.
what I'm here to do. And then I feel like I'm not, serving my purpose. So it
Yeah.
goes into
Yeah.
this little spiral of
Yeah.
not doing the work. And I really, in my heart, want to do the work.
So,
And
so, so for me, I ask a question, which is follow the energy, right? Which is where does the energy want me to be right now? And the energy is then making the decision or helping me with the decision because I'm trying to find the most expanded consciousness energetic state or the most harmonic or stable state to follow. So my question to me when I sit in that space is, what does the energy want me to do in this moment? And then that decision's made and I live by the decision, which means I try not to, like all of us, we're still human. I try not to then, so for example, if that state said, do nothing or meditate or just sit quietly or do nothing, in the past, what I would have done is gone, well, that's ridiculous. Like,
mm,
there's so much to do. Surely I should do a live or surely I should do this or that. But now I just anchor into the honoring of it, go, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, and my brain will keep playing. You should do this. Well, this is stupid. Blah, blah, blah. I just try and ignore that, or just tell it, it's okay. I got this. We're right. And then I anchor into that. And the minute I anchor into that, the next thing appears.
Mm-hmm.
The minute I anchor into that, the next thing appears. Right?
Yeah. Honoring whatever it is that is
Just
the highest
honor it.
state. Yeah.
That's right. It is the highest state. That's the thing. Sometimes nothing is the highest state.
Mm.
But then not getting caught in the, but now I'm going into a destabilized state of lethargy in a way. I can't be bothered doing anything now. Now I feel hopeless and useless, and I should have done something, and I wish I had done something, and so then you fall into that trap, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if you follow the energy, what does the energy want me to do in this moment? Do nothing. Great. Then I do nothing on purpose. Bang.
Yeah.
And then I wait for the next thing to appear. Energy, what do you want me to do in this moment? Keep in that state. Okay, I'll just keep in this state. Now, energy, what do you want me to do? And then you move. You take an action, because it's not going to stop you from taking an action for long. Okay. Right? Because sometimes the stop doing nothing is the settling you back into your resonance and your stable state, so that the right thing can then appear, or the right thread can be seen. Right, now I'm moving. We are designed to be in momentum, right? We're not designed to do nothing per se or stop. And even doing nothing isn't stopping. It's opening up space for the next thing to appear, because all of creation comes from the void, right? Yeah. The key when we're in the void is to look for the spark, that little tiny light that appears. And often it appears as this tiny speck of light. And then it's like, follow the light. follow that energy, because that's the energy. Follow the light. And then it'll open up to the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And you're following these little threads. It's like Hansel and Gretel with the breadcrumbs. You're following the breadcrumbs. And we're so used to having to have the whole thing mapped out in front of us. Like, I see what it's going to be. Wow, that's amazing, right? But we're just following breadcrumbs right now. So sometimes it is hard then for the ego or the other parts of us to get excited, because it's like, but I can't see anything. It's just a breadcrumb. So that's boring. It's like, no, anchor into the breadcrumb, be the breadcrumb, be with the breadcrumb, and see what opens up.
Yeah, I think what you just said is really important, Marcus, about asking the question, what does energy want me to do right now?
Yep.
And then honoring that without any guilt, without the ego coming to sabotage as it usually does and saying, you're saying you're doing nothing. It's
you're like, lazy, right?
You're lazy. Yeah. So just whatever it is, because in that moment there's something else that will appear, and it's just going to appear as a little light. It's not going to appear as the big drum roll.
No, it doesn't appear like that.
Don't wait for the drum roll.
No, it might not appear, right? That will then show up at some point as inspiration. There's a little bit of spark of, but it's not going to appear like it used to appear. Everything's changing. Things are not going to appear like they used to appear, nor should we want them to, because that just keeps us caught in that timeline. So we want it to appear differently, and we want to have a different experience of it. And the only way I can describe it is it's a more sure experience of it. It's a more definite. Yeah, it's a more knowing experience, as opposed to I'm super excited and wow, this looks great, and not really sure, was it my heart or my ego that drove it? And way too often my ego drove it. Yeah. Definitely do that. Yes, that looks good. Your dad's going to be happy with you, and and like just made way too many of those decisions. Way too many, as I'm sure you did. We both did, right?
Absolutely.
We were really good at that too, by the way. I was a master of it, until I got slapped in the face for the 15th time and then went, okay, maybe that's not going to work. Maybe there's a different way of doing this. So,
So if you're listening out there, just ask yourself the question, like, what does energy want me to do right now?
Yep.
And honor that, whatever
just follow
it is.
Whatever it is.
And if there is a thought that comes in that tries to sabotage that, like bring about fear, that's not your soul talking. No. If it's a fearful thought, it's the ego talking always.
Totally. Always. So, yeah.
Awesome.
That's great. Thank you.
Yay. Well, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and we'll come next week with more Galactic Guidance.
Yay. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Marcus.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Galactic Guidance. We hope that the messages that you receive from the higher realms have brought you clarity, insight, and comfort. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Remember to stay connected to your own inner guidance and trust the journey ahead.